I'm going to introduce you to a stunning resource, which is at netbible.org. You can get there by just typing netbible.org, netbible.org. You can see I've already typed it and it remembers it, and it'll take you right there. Another way, of course, is to click the link here on this on my own web page for the class. That will also take you there. You're going to see several things here. And I'm going to remind you about some of those. Yes, I'm going to say there are three sorts of notes you're going to run into. We're going to get to the Greek, but I'm going to introduce this to you in the order in which you sort of run into things. You're going to have SN, study notes. These are going to help you get a sense of the meaning of the passage. So as we look at this, let's go to footnote 3. David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah, and there's a footnote there. You click that, and it says by the wife of Uriah, i.e. Bathsheba, and gives you a link. So it's ways of reminding you about this. So we have study notes, SNs, and we have TC, textual comments. These are, do I have any here? Yes, I do. These are comments about from the ancient manuscripts on how we get at the exact text of our New Testament. And we haven't done any review of manuscripts at all in this first level of Greek. If we decide to do another set of 9 lessons, I'll begin introducing you to this. So for right now, just skip the TC notes, textual comments. The things that you might find interesting, however, are the TNs, translation notes. Let's go to another passage other than the genealogy in Matthew. Let's find, here's a translation note. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, what kind of we got? We got a study note there. Number 1 right here. Let me highlight it for you. There's a 1 here and a 1 over here on this side, so it's a study note. This 2 is actually a textual note or a translation note. So it says the preposition pros implies not just proximity, yada, 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 yada. Read it. If you find it helpful, great. At your level of Greek, you may find some of these translation notes are a little bit hard to understand. If you find them difficult, just skip them. Let's go to John. What are we doing here? We're doing John 1:1 on this one. Let's go to, we're at John 1:1. Let's look at the other things. So we've got, by the way, as I roll this, you'll notice that the footnotes, as soon as I can see the chapter ahead of John 1, which in this case is Luke 24, all the footnotes are connected to the chapter that's at the top of this left-hand column. So whatever you're seeing, the last verse here determines what kind of footnotes you're going to get. So if you want to be sure to get the footnotes on John 1, then scroll up until you get Luke 24 right off the screen. There we go. At this point now, all of the notes are related to John. Good. So we're doing Greek. I want you to notice Greek. Take a look up here. You've got several menu options. There's notes and there's Greek. So we're going to go over to the Greek and have a look at it. Oops, wrong, Greek. There we go. Now this is so cool. So in Arche, as you hover over a mouse on the Greek side, it's going to show you on the left-hand side how the Net Bible translation translated it. And it's going to show you any other instances of that word. So if I click on logos, we're going to see that logos is used 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the first 14 verses, and they're highlighted over here. What else is interesting? Let's go to theon. This will show you, you've noticed we've done different forms of the word. So we have theos. This is the word for God. And this is a nominative form. This is an accusative form with an on, theon. And this is a genitive form with a theou. And you say, man, I can't remember what these are. But you can start to get a feel for what they are. By the way, the reason I figured it was genitive is if you look down here, if you click on a word, this word here, I'm going to choose this one. It's going to give you down below, whoops, it's going to go crazy. There we are. It's going to give you, let's get this highlighted. It's going to say it's a noun, genitive, masculine, singular. It's going to give you the Strong's number. You're already familiar using the interlinear, which is where I think you should start on a verse. You already know it's a genitive, masculine, singular. You've already looked at Strong's. It's already transliterated it for you. And Strong's has told you the root of the word. So the root of theou is theos. It's going to give you a much fuller definition here. Not as full as everything you'd get at netbible.com, but a pretty good definition that covers a lot of territory. But the thing I wanted to point out is if you observe that this is a genitive, then you can take a look and you say, okay, so this is a genitive. How is it translated? And I see from God. And the tip off there, you say, maybe genitive is a way of translating from. Here is an accusative. We see down at the bottom. Oh, let's delete some of these. There we go. Well, that just goes crazy. But if you look at the bottom, you're going to see it's a noun, accusative, masculine, singular. And actually with God, it's actually a whole sentence there. By the way, this is another strength of this version. You notice I can actually highlight a verse without highlighting a bunch of other stuff. So if you ever want to copy and paste a Greek sentence into a Microsoft Word document or into an email, this is the place to come. You'll notice that it does use capital letters at the beginnings of paragraphs, but other than proper names like well, there are no proper names in this. Probably John. Let's see. Verse 17. There's Moses. Uses an uppercase letter. And there's Jesu Christu. Jesus Christ. Those are capitalized because it's a proper name. So these are some of the things you can do with Greek, and here you get a very nice analysis. You can copy and paste. It's going to use proper punctuation as is standard for biblical Greek. Now, let's say you want to compare and understand how this translation works. If we go to Bibles, I can choose the version I want to see. So here I choose the English Standard Version. And so I get the Net Bible Translation, New English Translation, NET, on the left. I get the ESV on the right. I can compare them easily. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And this one's almost the same. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was fully God. Now, you say that's a little different, but they've got a footnote. So you click on the 3 here by fully God, and it takes you to a footnote, and they have a fairly long discussion explaining why they chose to translate the word God as fully God. Let's look at the Greek. Oh, now, can I do this? Open link in new tab. I'm going to right click on Greek, open link in new tab. Is it going to take me to John 1:1? Let's go to Greek by clicking here. So now I can compare the net translation with, let's go to the ESV. I'm doing that by clicking on this ESV here. It was part of the heading was in fact Bibles. I click on Bibles and it's going to give me a choice, and I'm going to choose the ESV. So I have the net translation, the ESV, and I can flip over here to Greek. So I see and the word was fully God in net translation. The word was God in the ESV. I go to Greek and I see and God was the Word, which is really interesting. So it flips the order of the nouns, but it does not use the term fully God. So that's why you would go to the note and look at the discussion. What they do in the Net Bible, and part of what makes it an interesting resource, is they explain their translation issues and the things they come up with. So those are the things I want you to note about this is that you can read this translation. You can go to footnotes, which are easy to get to, and there are three sorts: study notes, translation notes, and textual comments, TC, and there are no TC comments in here. The other thing, oh yeah, and we're back and we can do a nice comparison of versions and also do a comparison of the Greek to the net translation and easily over here to the ESV. So you can do that if you keep these open in different tabs and go back and forth between them easily. The last thing I want to draw your attention to, under notes, they have a bunch of footnotes. They also have notes by Dr., I think his first name is John Constable notes, and Tom Constable, that's who he is. So he was for 45 years a professor of Bible at Dallas Theological Seminary in Texas, and he's retired now and devotes virtually full time to updating these notes, and they exist on literally every book of the Bible. So you go back to Genesis 1 and you're going to get notes on Genesis from Tom Constable. And let's go, they work chapter by chapter, so let's go to Genesis 2. Genesis 2, and Constable notes should update themselves to looking at chapter 2 someplace. Oh yeah, here we are talking about his comments on the seventh day, chapter 2. And so you have to do a fair bit of scrolling on Constable's notes. But it's a terrific resource. And one of the things I like about the Net Bible is it's all free. They make this resource available to you for free. And Constable, what's his name? Constable has made essentially a commentary on the whole Bible available for free. Now you can agree with Constable sometimes, disagree with him sometimes, but I love his heart that he thinks that he wants to open Scripture to people and make it available at no charge to them. This is terrific. For what it's worth, if you copy out the ESV and copy it into Word and make copies for everybody in your small group Bible study to use, you're technically in violation of copyright law. ESV and virtually every main translation that you could use has very rigorous copyright, and the guys who created the Net Bible said, this isn't right. We want people we think the Word of God should be freely available at no charge. And so you have top-notch scholars who went and built this over a period of 10 or 15 years. That's what it took to come up with the net translation. And they have a very permissive copyright. They say, copy it, use it however you like. If you want to copy it, print 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 copies, bind them into book form and sell them, you help yourself. You want them to distribute to your small group Bible study, you help yourself. So my heart warms to these guys, the Net Bible guys, and also Constable, Tom Constable, who has a similar philosophy of making things available for free. What else have I covered here? We can compare versions. Oh, that's the other thing. Of course, if you're looking at the ESV and you're seeing that there's a difference, well, we did that already here. The Word was fully God. If you see a difference between the net translation and the ESV translation, then you can go back to, oh, we're in Genesis here. John 1, show me the Greek. You can easily go back and see what the underlying Greek is, and you can learn something about Greek by noticing how the ESV and the net translation handle it differently. Anyway, I think that'll carry you for a while.